God, how good is this sweet potato casserole?
I know. Is this Rose? This sweet potato casserole, it be changing lives, okay? Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's pre-recorded episode of the SaVeg podcast. Rose, what did you do to this mic? I don't know what's happening.
Is it having a problem?
It's having a situation in here, I think. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Should we restart?
No, we can keep it in there. Oh, actually,
So
we might need to.
we're having some technical difficulties as always.
Okay.
As you can see, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, you may notice something different.
What's different, Rose?
We have switched sides.
We switched locations.
Yeah. We've decided to do a little switcheroo.
Yes.
Because someone's neck is hurting.
My neck
Because someone is an old man.
My neck was getting a little bit stiff. So
because we just did another recordation before this.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Daniel, we know Daniel loves to turn his head like this so that he's no longer facing the mic.
I'm always like this,
You still
guys.
do it, by the way.
I know, I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
You know, you're allowed to just like look. I know you love looking at me and giving me that full attention.
I'm a very, you know what it proves though? I think this podcast proves like I'm a very good listener. Like, you know, when I'm talking and engaging with people, I really like, you know, take
Such
the time. I take the time to acknowledge them and like, you know.
I mean, if you were a good listener, then you would have listened to the advice to not turn your head years ago.
Well, that's more of a like behavioral issue.
Anyway, you guys, welcome back to another pre-recorded episode. We are doing another one because we are going to be doing oh there's some ASMR action. We're drinking some bubbly, so please don't mind our burps that will be coming your way.
Oh god.
Hopefully Daniel will remember to
edit them out.
Which Daniel often forgets. I hope you enjoyed that little ASMR. Ooh. Is this an ASMR channel?
That tasted so good. Yeah. Wait, what do people do? They're like...
They do like a tapping thing. Anyway, you guys, we're going to stop. So this week's episode, once again, we're going to be doing the Am I the Asshole series that you guys love so much.
The crowd pleaser.
Yeah, the crowd pleaser, where basically we react or we read people's Am I the Asshole Reddit posts and we react and we tell you what we think.
If we think you're the asshole or not.
Exactly.
Because we're both judgmental little bitches.
Exactly.
So
hey, they put it out there for us to respond to.
And you know what? We're actually doing a public service because people are putting it out there because they want feedback.
Exactly.
So if they watch our channel, they'll be like, oh my God.
Clearly they watch our episodes.
Of course. You know, they're part of our fan base.
Anyway, guys. Before we jump in, make sure you follow us on Patreon. Join our Patreon family. It's patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. The tiers start at just $3 a month and you get ad-free content. You get every episode a week earlier than everybody else. And there's a bonus episode only for the Patreon members every single month.
Yep.
So make sure you check us out. Patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Thanks so much for that, Rose. That's great.
Now we're going to jump straight in.
Should I start?
Yeah, and Daniel's going to start the Am I the Asshole?
I'm going to start because you finished last time.
Why does that sound wrong?
You just like to finish, don't you, Rose?
Well, don't we all? Continue. We've been getting way too comfortable on this podcast.
This is true. Oh, God damn, you're at only 10%, Rose.
It's okay. We'll survive.
What have we said about charging phones?
Daniel, my phone has been working overtime all day, okay? And someone has been using my phone charger.
Okay. I don't know where this one's going to go, but...
You never know. It's a whole journey.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a journey. Am I the asshole for telling my rich classmate not everyone has it financially as good as her? I, 30
Not the asshole.
I, 30 female. Rose has already made a decision. I, 30 female. I'm in my second year of university. The classmate I called out, let's call her Ellen, is a 19-year-old female. I wouldn't call us friends, but we work together a lot because of a big assignment, and I often spend lunchtime with her and the same group of students, kind of like good colleagues. Ellen's parents own their own supermarket, and are quite well off. Think yacht, 2 vacation homes, 4 big cars, etc. I know this because Ellen has a habit of bringing up her financial status on a regular basis. At the beginning of the year, it didn't annoy me because it was just casually mentioned now and then, and she wasn't hurting anyone with it. But as time went on, this changed to her actively trying to turn the conversation towards the topic, often during times when it would be considered tone deaf. For example, another classmate, Elisa, got into a car accident and had to stay in the hospital. As she was sharing her experience during lunch, Ellen said, "Oh, I got in a really bad accident too once on my yacht. I lost my balance and fell backwards. My neck was sore for days."
Oh my God.
The situation where I called her out was this one. Ellen's best friend, Lydia, had her backpack and laptop stolen and was crying uncontrollably. Ellen gave her a hug and said, "You don't need to cry. You can just buy a new one."
No.
Lydia said she couldn't, to which Ellen replied, "Oh, come on. It's not expensive. With the software, we need a laptop of, with the software, we need a laptop of around 1,200 euros should be enough," she said. And I replied, "Ellen, not everyone is as financially comfortable as you." Ellen clearly didn't like that. She raised her voice and told me that people only see the money, but they don't see how much effort she has to put in to get in.
What the hell? It's all her parents' money.
I know that she works at her parents' supermarket every Sunday and that she deserves every coin she owns. I told her that I didn't mean that she doesn't deserve it, and that it's a good thing that she doesn't have to worry about money, but that she should consider that most of their fellow students have a different situation. It didn't get mentioned anymore, but the overall mood has been quite cold since then, and I'm wondering if maybe I went too far. Both my boyfriend and best friend, both in their 30s, said I should have ignored it because 19 is basically still a kid, and it's not my job to teach her empathy. So, am I the asshole?
No.
Edit. I noticed that a lot of people focus on the age difference a lot, so let me clarify. The group I have lunch with consists of students aged 19 to 36. I don't consider Ellen my friend, but I'm not going to avoid her during lunch because of the age. At my job, I combine work with uni. We also eat with colleagues together, no matter their ages, and my classmates feel the same for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the age, I mean, yeah, she's 19, so she's young. So that is a factor.
Yeah.
Because when you're that young, it's like, your brain, you're not matured yet. And maybe she doesn't realize what she's doing.
Don't they say that the frontal lobe?
The prefrontal cortex is not developed until you're like 25, 26.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 19 is very young. Okay. So I think that is something to take into consideration. She's obviously very annoying. Very annoying.
Yeah.
Probably a little insecure.
Yeah.
So she needs to like overcompensate by talking about how rich her parents are or whatever and how great her life is.
Well, and like honestly, like again, exactly. Like read the room, right? And obviously she's young. She's not gotten to, I guess, been able to do that. She's lived a privileged life. So I think sometimes what gets lost is she forgets, and I think a lot of people that live privileged lives, they forget that everyone's not in the same boat as them, or should we say not in the same yacht. But like, at the same time, it's like you need to understand that you're in a privileged situation. And I love her comment. And she's like, well, you know what? I've earned every dime. I work at the supermarket every Sunday.
So does everybody else.
Exactly. And let me tell you, I'm guaranteeing you the life that she's lived with her parents' support is not one that she could have funded by herself working at a supermarket one day a week on a Sunday. So
I think what she said also is not that bad. Like it was like, oh, not everyone is, what was it?
Not everyone is as financially comfortable as you.
That's like not even that. That's
exactly.
not a bad comment.
Because she was being tone deaf. Her friend.
I would say that to my friend.
Exactly. Her friend was like crying. And she's like, I'm having this issue. I'm not going to be able to buy this laptop. She's like, it's only 1,200 euros. Like, what's the big deal? It's 1,200 euros. She's like, well, not everyone is financially secure as you and your parents.
I'd say that to my friend easily. If my friend was being like that, I'd be like, listen, not everyone has the financial security that you have. I think that's a completely reasonable comment. So for her boyfriend to be like, listen, like maybe, you're not teaching her a lesson or whatever. But at that moment, I think that was a very normal comment to make.
100%.
So for her boyfriend or whoever to be like, oh, that's not your place. Like, fuck that.
Yeah. So, but let's see some of the comments. I'm a 30-year-old female, was raised very well off, private school my whole life, parents completely paid for my college, etc. And still at 19 knew that most of my college friends had taken out loans, and so I never brought up money stuff because I didn't want to be the spoiled brat that Ellen's being. Not the asshole. She clearly needed a reality check.
Yes.
So that's coming from someone else that's also lived like a very privileged life.
Yes.
It's just like having that context to know, like, and it's like, you know, you like, it's just nobody likes a bragger either. Like, nobody likes somebody that's constantly flashing in their face, like, oh, well, I just have so much money and 1,200 euros is nothing to me. And I fell on a yacht, my parents' yacht. Like, I'll be like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly.
Like, just
she did her a favor by putting her in her place because it's embarrassing. Like, guaranteed everyone is talking shit about this girl behind her back.
Oh, 100%. Oh God, did you hear Ellen talk about her yacht again? Oh my God, I'm so sick of it. Like, me and you in that class, we'd be like,
we would have talked so much shit.
Someone was saying something, we'd be like, it's giving very Ellen. Ellen from our econ class.
Oh God, it's giving Ellen energy.
Oh, you know, did you hear that girl talking about her fucking the purse her parents bought? It's giving very Ellen.
Oh my God.
Not the asshole. It's nobody's job in particular to teach her empathy, but somebody has to. You didn't go extreme or anything. 19 is a very normal age to start making people aware that other people's lives are very unlike the household that she came from. So yeah, everyone's just saying not the asshole.
God,
even if she's still a kid, she has to learn from somewhere, and why not a friend?
Exactly.
Yep.
I think what she said is completely reasonable.
100%. And
I
like
would
you said,
I would literally say the same thing.
Exactly. I'd be like, well, not every exactly. And it wouldn't even be like I'm trying to call her out or anything. But if someone was crying because they're stressed about their laptop, legitimately, it's because they're the like. Most people, like, I would even probably cry a little bit about it. It's annoying, and it's like because you have to stress about the money that's going to have to be to replace that. You know,
when you're a student, you don't have that much money.
Exactly.
Most people don't.
And so for her to be so insensitive, I would have said the same thing. I would be like, not everyone has super rich parents. You know, yeah, you work one Sunday a week at the grocery store. You think that can pay for a regular all your tuition, your $1,200 laptop, all this other stuff? No.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Okay, what's next?
Her parents must own more than one grocery store, though.
Yeah.
Because one grocery store is not going to be make you a yacht owner. It might make you a successful business owner.
I mean, we don't even know how, like, you know, a yacht. Yachts range in price significantly.
Yes.
So we don't know how rich she is. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. There's super yachts. There's
exactly.
Regular yachts. There's baby yachts.
Oh, this is interesting.
Okay.
Am I the asshole for not wanting to give ex-mother-in-law my recipe? Oh, drama. My ex-husband,
a recipe.
My ex-husband Jacob and I lived with his mom Mary and stepdad prior to us getting married and Jacob joining the military. I continued to live there while Jacob was in basic training. Mary and I did everything together at that point because her husband was away at this time for deployment. I thought her and I had a great relationship, but I found out that she had been writing Jacob and telling him things like not to sign power of attorney papers over to me, not to trust me, etc.
Oh my God.
Jacob put her in her place eventually, but I never really let my guard down with her after that. God damn, can you imagine?
Oh my God, that would be so bad.
That would be so bad. And as you can imagine, this type of behavior from her was not an isolated incident. I managed to mirror her fakeness, and we got along just fine for the next 10 years my ex and I were married. 10 years.
Damn.
Fast forward to last year when I had to take Jacob to court to have the custody agreement changed for the safety of our children. Jacob tried to keep Luke, our oldest, from being part of the custody case because he was going to be 18 in less than 6 months and was going to be able to testify. Our two other children were under 10 and would not have as much of a voice because of their ages. But the way my ex-in-laws, the entire family, has treated Luke because he stood up for himself. What the fuck? Because he stood up for himself and his siblings makes my blood boil. Mary, Luke's grandmother and aunt, telling him, wait, who's Luke? Luke is the
son?
Oh, the oldest son. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think.
So Luke, the oldest son, is standing for himself, up for himself and his siblings. And the ex-in-laws and everyone is like treating him like shit or whatever. Okay. So Mary, who's the mother-in-law / grandmother of Luke, and the aunt told him that they couldn't or wouldn't talk to him until court is over because they don't want to take sides. But they continue to visit and talk with his dad. They continue to make plans and never follow through with them, even now. And court ended in September 2023. It breaks my heart. The point of all is this. Mary, my ex-mother-in-law, and Luke's grandmother text Luke a few days ago wanted to ask for my sweet potato casserole recipe. I was originally going to give it to her, the people pleaser in me. This is a dish of mine that is requested often when I'm invited to parties. I've had a few ways I'd like to respond to her request. Google it. It's not going to be the same, but it's as close as you'll get to my you'll ever get it again. No. Am I the asshole for refusing to give my ex-monster-in-law my recipe that I tweaked and made my own? Seems like you have a lot more problems than the sweet potato casserole.
Oh my God. The sweet potato casserole is the least.
The least of the problems.
There's some
here.
kind of like custody battle happening. There's one kid that's going to be 18 and he's trying to do his own thing and you got in-laws involved.
Yeah.
It sounds a fucking mess.
It sounds like she just wanted to vent about her divorce and the situation.
It's like, talk about all this stuff, the divorce,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
It's like, should I give the recipe?
What about the sweet potato recipe? It's like, what? Why are you not talking about all the other shit? I can't believe your post is about the sweet potato recipe. Honestly, like it's crazy.
God, sometimes I'm like, what?
Like it's like, you know what, guys? Like imagine I write a post. It's like, you know, I've lost my job. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. But my friend's asking for a recipe. Should I give it to them? You know, like, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What about all this other shit going on in your life?
Not the asshole. I would do the same. I'd be like, Google it, bitch.
Exactly.
Why am I doing you any favors? We're clearly not, not in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to no, we are not. You're not
getting nothing from
Or
me.
I could be like, listen, I'll give you the recipe if you fucking back off.
Yeah.
You know, back off of my my son. Mm-hmm. Back off of this thing. Let us have, let's do a more, cordial arrangement with this court case. Mm-hmm. Because fucking hell, divorce sounds so messy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh God. You know what? Every time I hear about it, especially with kids involved, all this other shit, I'm just like, oh my God, it's so fucking messy.
It's so messy. And then have you seen that movie with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver? It's called Marriage Story.
No.
It was like one of the Oscar nominees or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it Oscar? Oscars, yes.
Yeah.
And it was like basically they're this couple that were married and I think they had a child. And originally they were like, oh, we're just gonna get divorced and not get lawyers involved, right?
Yeah.
But then little things started happening and then they did have lawyers, but they initially wanted to keep it simple. But then the lawyers, of course, they were kind of like, actually, nah, nah, nah. And it just made it so much bigger than it was.
Right.
And then it just ended, and it was just like a disaster.
Yeah.
But basically, it just shows how it's so fucking messy.
Yeah.
And
well, this is the thing too that I always think about. I always think to myself, okay, I feel like overall I'm kind of a rational person for the most part. And I feel like if I was splitting up with someone that I was married with, I'd want to try to not involve lawyers and I'd want to try to, but at the end of the day, number one, you don't know what that other person's going to be like, right? So they could end up being, even if you've been in a good relationship and obviously not good if you guys are splitting up, but there's been things happening. They could end up becoming really petty, all this stuff. Or you, for whatever reason, could react a certain way and find yourself being a little bit petty, And it's almost like, it gets a little bit wild. It's actually kind of crazy. And it's like, oh God, I feel like these things bring out the worst in people. They really do. And then I think you're right. I think once you get lawyers involved, the thing is let's say you and your partner are together for 10 years, you're married, you're splitting up, you're trying to figure it out together. And you're like, even though you're still amicable, you're like,
yes,
maybe we should just get lawyers involved just to help a little bit.
Yeah.
Then the lawyers get involved and then they make it worse.
Yes, I think so. I think often that's what happens because lawyers, that's their job.
Yeah.
So, how are they going to make money?
Yeah.
They're going to try to fight for whatever, right?
Exactly.
And they're probably going to make things more important than they are.
Of course.
Oh, what about that piano? Is that when you know what I mean? They'll try to just and I feel like it makes it worse.
Oh,
but
100%.
who the fuck knows? I've never gone through a divorce, thank God.
Yeah, me neither.
Hopefully never.
Nope. Nope. I'm 35 years of age. Have not been divorced yet.
God damn.
But there's always a first time.
So
you
let's
never
get
know.
married first before we talk about divorce.
God damn.
Okay. So, response. First comment. Tell her to Google it. Wait. She said she wouldn't talk to her grandson. until the court case is over, but changed her mind because she needs a recipe from you. That's beyond low. You owe this woman nothing. Yeah. Someone wrote, time to block her and all the ex-family. No response needed, and tell your kid to ignore her too, just like she did to him. Not the asshole. But please get all your kids into therapy. Divorce sucks, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Not the asshole. It's your recipe and it's your choice. And she has the audacity in the middle of ignoring Luke just to ask for the recipe. God, how good is this sweet potato casserole?
I know. Is this Rose? This sweet potato casserole, it be changing lives, okay?
It's a sweet potato casserole.
Apparently, it's like the best sweet potato casserole in the world, and it will one bite of it's orgasmic.
God. And then someone, this is wild. Such a bizarre request, giving the context.
It is bizarre because imagine you're like, even if you're just like randomly having a fight with somebody or something's happening, and then they're just like, yeah, you know that sweet potato recipe? Can you just like pass it on to me? Like, no. Google it, bitch.
God, seriously. Oh, I mean, it's up to you, Daniel. It's your choice.
It's my choice, and I'm going to go with it because I've been on a roll lately, Rose.
You've been finding some good ones.
Would I be the asshole, guys? So this would I be the asshole?
Would I be?
If I back out of helping my sister pay for a car because she went and got a $65,000 Jeep instead of what we originally agreed on. My sister, 18, female, is starting college this fall. She doesn't have a car, but will need one because she'll be commuting to school while living at home. At the beginning of the year, I, 27 male, told her that I'd help her pay for a car as a graduation gift, and I'd pay for the first $5,000 of her monthly payments. She has an almost full ride scholarship and is living at home, so this will probably be her only reoccurring bill outside of school fees and supplies. I did this so that when she started working, she could build as much of a savings net as possible if something came up. What a nice brother. My parents, my sister, and I originally agreed on a max of $25,000 to $30,000. This car isn't meant to last her a decade. She's never owned a car before.
She's 18.
Exactly. This isn't meant to last her a decade. She's never owned a car before. This is her quote, baby's first car. It's supposed to be an affordable used car for a college kid to get around in. It should last her for college, and then she can figure out what to do from there. Well, I was lied to because she and my parents went out and bought a brand new Jeep yesterday.
The parents.
Yeah.
God.
I'm livid. My parents co-signed for her to get this. Not only did they buy a $65,000 brand new car, but they financed a $10,000 down payment at an even higher APR for some reason. For some insight,
oh my God.
this gets even better. For some insight, my parents cannot afford this car themselves, and they can't.
What?
Yeah, and they can't even afford the new payments on the loan they got for the $10,000. There's a reason I'm the one helping out with the payments on this, not them. My sister does not even have a job yet, which was supposed to be step one before she even got this car. I'm livid. The $5,000 I had set aside for her won't even last the summer if we put it towards the car and loan payments. The whole reason I did this is now basically moot because she'll have to cover the payments while she's in school. My parents have good credit somehow, but have zero cash at the end of each month. So I'm pretty sure once my $5,000 runs dry, the car will be repoed for non-payment in the next year or so. What boils my blood even more is they know I'm livid but don't care. Mom went on a whole hour about how sister's eyes lit up at the sight of the car, and you should have.
Oh my God.
You would have not said no either if you were there.
What the fuck?
We had talked about this for months. My sister and parents both knew 100% that she would not be able to afford this car, but they don't care now. I'm considering backing out. I'll tell them to return the car and we return to our original plan, or else I'll just invest the $5,000 in a 5-year bond for my sister. I want some opinions on this plan. Edit for quick clarification. My gift to her is a total of $5,000 that was to be used for monthly payments. The way I worded it was weird, I think, originally. I did not promise to help with a down payment or anything else fee related. She had savings to cover that. I was going to pay the first $5,000 of the monthly payments, and that's it. Edit number 2. Some people are asking why the original car purchase price we decided of $25,000 to $30,000 was so high. I agree that's pretty high for an unemployed college kid. That was meant to be an absolute max that you need to think very carefully about. Total fees included. I encouraged them to go for a $10,000 to $15,000, but they talked about a $25,000 to $30,000 max. I also just got confirmation that the deal was finalized yesterday. There's no returning the Jeep. I was mistaken about how used versus new cars are treated with cool down period laws. She and my parents are screwed. Thanks for the advice so far. Going to think this over tonight and figure out how much of this circus I want to be a part of.
I say fucking take the $5,000 and put it to something else.
Yeah.
Because that is so fucked.
I know.
What is wrong with the parents?
I don't get it. Like, number one, like the in this whole situation, I mean, everybody's not him, but like the sister and the parents are the assholes.
Yeah.
Like the sister, she's a little bit younger, naive. She wants her first vehicle. Of course, she's going to be like, oh my God, I want the biggest and best car ever.
Oh, and clearly she's spoiled by the parents.
Yeah. But the parents don't have money.
The parents are clearly financially irresponsible, have no idea what they're doing.
Exactly.
What are you doing? Your daughter cannot pay for these payments. You co-signed. You don't have money. What are you going to do with this car?
Yeah. And there was a bunch of other agreements that were supposed to happen before. Number one, she was supposed to get a job first before they got her a vehicle. That didn't happen. So she has no job right now.
$65,000?
I know.
That's so much money.
And her parents, I guess their parents have good credit somehow. But he was saying like they live paycheck to paycheck. Like they can't afford this loan.
That doesn't surprise me based on this behavior.
I know. They're just like, oh, you should have seen her face, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
care
guys.
about
It doesn't
her face.
fucking matter.
You don't have the money.
Exactly. If you can't afford it, you do not get it. You want a $65,000 car, get a fucking job that can get you enough money to get a $65,000 car. I'm sorry, guys, but like, this is why people get into such serious financial fucking situations where it's like, oh, but we really wanted that $1 million house and the 500, $65,000.
I want a lot of things.
Exactly.
My eyes shine when I see something bright and shiny.
I want a fucking $1 million house. I want a brand new vehicle to be driving around the city with. I want. But you know what? I don't get because I can't afford it. And like, this stuff makes me so angry. And the parents are teaching the daughter like really not good things. Like it sounds like the son.
Is it a guy?
Yeah.
I feel like he is the parent in this situation.
Yes.
And that probably was the case for his entire life. He's been parenting everyone.
Yeah.
Because this is just so unbelievably irresponsible. Like, I don't even understand. And I do think he needs to just take that money and like, and he's still going to do something nice for his sister.
Yeah, he's going to put it in like a 5-year bond or something.
Okay, which is like so nice and sweet.
Yeah.
So do that. And then they need to learn this lesson on their own.
Yeah.
Because what the actual hell is going on?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's actually like, it's frustrating. And you know, if she went for a car that was like, because they were originally saying like 10 to 15K for a used car.
Right.
If she did that, not only she had some savings to put a down payment.
Yeah.
Plus her brother had set aside $5K.
Which is like half the amount.
Which is like, exactly. It's like a third of the amount. She might have had another $5K. I don't know how much she had there. Then you only have a loan for such a small amount and you can manage your finances.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
Why as a college student for your first vehicle would you get it if you, again, caveat, if you can't afford it, if your parents can and whatever else, fucking go for it, like whatever. But if you literally cannot afford it, your parents cannot fucking afford it, like what are you doing? This stuff makes me so mad. Someone comment, I'd like to point out that you can buy a brand new car for $30K. We got a Mazda CX-30. I don't know what that is, but for under $30K brand new. We didn't even go for the basic model. We could have gotten a new car for even less.
Yeah, you can. That's
So-
what I heard too. You don't have to spend $65K,
You don't.
which is so insane.
Someone put, not the asshole. They all need to learn a lesson the hard way.
Yes,
It seems
I
as
agree.
though everybody just assumed you would pitch in and help out once she starts drowning in debt.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they will guilt you too. Tell them to take the Jeep back or figure it out themselves. I would expect this type of decision from an 18-year-old, but not parents.
Yes.
Especially when they can't make the payment themselves. Like obviously if the parents could afford it, then but still
That's a bit of a difference, but still you
it's not a
shouldn't do that because that's not
Exactly.
a good lesson.
because you're like we can afford it, but you can't.
Exactly. So we need to get something that you can afford,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're co-signing. What is going on?
I know. They said if you let this ride, you'll wind up paying for the Jeep out of guilt.
Absolutely.
But I mean, he's gonna have to put his foot down. Like it's gonna suck because his sister's gonna come crying to him and be like, "My Jeep's gonna get repossessed. I can't make these payments on a $65K loan."
You shouldn't have signed it. What the actual fuck?
Yeah, not the asshole, but I'm not sure how they can back out of the purchase. Yeah,
now.
car companies really do their best to not make it possible to back out of the deal. You need to find out if the deal's already done, which he said.
Well, it's their fault. Sorry.
Goes.
What happens then if you can't make the payment?
Your car gets repossessed.
Well, there you go.
That's
Sorry.
what's gonna happen. It's gonna get
And it's gonna look so bad on your credit. It's gonna be so bad on your credit.
Oh, we'll be fucked. Your credit's gonna be fucked.
Well, you know what? You made your bed.
Mm.
What are you gonna do?
So this is the thing. I have a story time.
Oh, you have a story time.
A little different story time. So I'm not gonna say where. I'm not gonna say when. I'm not gonna say who. But a long time ago, I was living in this neighborhood, And one of our neighbors, they were a couple. They had 2 young kids.
Yeah.
And they were a very dramatic couple. There was a lot going on. They were always like, there was, and they lived quite far from us, like down the block. But quite often we would hear like yelling and screaming
like
matches,
they were fighting.
not like domestic abuse per se, but like really yelling at each other and stuff, making a big spectacle. Anyway, I was in the backyard one day and I hear some screaming from the house.
As you do.
As normal. And I was like, oh God, they're at it again. So I decided to take a peek over the fence to see what was going on.
Yeah.
As you do. Oh, I see what I see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I decided to take a peek to see what was going on. And
you can still look at me, Daniel. Just turn your eyes, just
like this?
No, just okay. Do you see what I'm doing? Just like just a slight tilt. Not like this.
Anyway.
The mic is here, Daniel. Like the mic is here, not here. Continue.
Okay. But anyway, so I decided to take a peek over the fence to see what was going on. And this is, it's all going to make sense. So this couple, they were like in this place. They had 2 young kids. Obviously, it's expensive to have kids and everything. But they also had 2 brand new vehicles, a huge ass truck, and not even a small truck. Like this truck was fucking huge. And then she also had like a, pretty brand new vehicle or whatever. And anyway, there was all this commotion and everything else. The car company, obviously, they'd not been making their payments. Oh. So they came and they took the truck away. Yeah.
Shit.
And the husband, spouse, whatever, he was like out there like yelling and screaming at them and was like, F you, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, you didn't make your payments. Like, what do you want us to do? Like, you had plenty of opportunities. You didn't make your payments. Your truck's gone. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was very dramatic in the neighborhood that day.
Very dramatic. What is wrong with people?
I know. Again, I think it's like we are like, I don't know what it is about people in general. And we're all guilty of this. Like we'll go into a store and like you said, we see shiny things and we're like, oh, that's really nice. I like that. I want that. And then I'll see the price and I'm like, I can't afford it. Moving on, like you're not like, oh, I'm just going to like rack up a ton of debt, do all this stuff that I can't afford. And then the worst part is these people that do this, that get the vehicles and everything else, it's like a trap, right? Like once you have a shit ton of debt, it's actually like way harder to get out of it.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Even if you start making more money and stuff, because it's like, let's say you have that $65K loan. Well, a $65K loan, even if you're paying like $1,000 a month, it's still going to take you so long to pay that off, right? And that's a huge payment because you have the interest to factor in. So the more debt that you like pile up, obviously the harder it is to get out of the situation, but it almost like it like
snowball. It's a snowball effect because if you already don't have enough money, then again, there's a chance that you might not make your payments, and then the interest rates. I don't know how bad they are for cars, but I don't think they're good. So it's just going to be. And then if you don't pay, then that's going to be more interest. Yeah. And then you're going to start putting things on your credit card. And then that's going to be extra interest. Yep. And it's just going to constantly build.
And if you don't make payments or you miss payments, I think that there's like late charges probably.
Yes.
There's penalty payments. You're going to accumulate those as well.
I don't understand.
And then those will snowball. And it's like, again, at the end of the day, it sucks. And it would be in a shitty, I get it. People are in shitty situations where it's like, I want to go to Mexico for a holiday. I want to escape my, this life for like a week. But if you can't afford it, you need to like come up with a plan or a game plan to be like, you know what? If I'm in a situation where I can't afford whatever situation I'm in, you need to make changes until you do, right? Like,
especially luxury items that you don't need.
Unnecessary luxury items. It's like, that's the first thing that goes, right? Like if you can afford a $65K vehicle, do not get a $65K vehicle.
What kills me is that they got it knowing or thinking that he was going to help them.
Of course.
That is what it is, right? Yeah. That pisses me off extra.
100%.
I'd just be like, why would you do that? Thinking that I'm just going to back you up and give you my money.
Like, I wonder what the payment on a $65K vehicle would be.
It must be so much.
It would probably be like $800 a month.
Like so much. And that's not factoring in Jeeps. Like, I don't think they're very good with the gas situation.
Not.
They're very expensive with that.
Generally, they're like more expensive for gas.
Why do you need a Jeep?
You don't.
Nobody needs
Rose,
a Jeep.
You don't.
Nobody needs a fucking Jeep.
Exactly. They could have got her a little Honda Civic,
Literally anything else.
Exactly. Something small, something, you can get a decent used vehicle for like 10 to 15K. I know that the used vehicle market's gone up a lot and the prices are a bit more expensive, but you do not need to spend $65K on a vehicle. Like, that's just like, no.
Oh, God. Okay. Let's continue on. Let me pick one. You know what? I don't think we did this one. Okay. It was only 3 hours ago. Okay. Am I the asshole for expecting my wife to do more at home on her days off?
Oh.
You're the asshole. No, I'm just kidding. Let's read. My wife, 38 female, and I, 39 male, have been married for 10 years and have 2 kids, 4 and 2. We both work full time, but my wife got a new job about 2 months ago that has drastically changed our schedules. Her previous job was work from home 5 days a week. Her new job her new job is 4 10-hour days at an office that is a 30-minute commute. Okay, so pretty intense days, but 4 days a week. Our kids are in daycare that is about 2 miles from my office, so I do all the drop-offs and pickups. With my wife's new job, I am also doing the majority of the cooking and getting the kids ready in the morning since she has to leave before I do in the morning and gets home later than we do in the evening.
Interesting.
Why do you look at me like that?
No, the reason I think it's interesting is because he's basically talking about what women do all the time.
Oh,
Having to get the kids ready while the husband's left already, having to prepare most of the meals. Let's see where this one goes.
I like your take on it already, Daniel. These were all things that were discussed prior to my wife accepting the new job. We knew these changes were going to happen and that it would be an adjustment for everybody. That's not what I'm griping about. The issue is that my wife is using her day off during the week almost exclusively for her leisure. She has Fridays off every week now, and she's been using that time to do stuff for herself. She's driven to meet friends for the day, gone shopping, gotten her hair and nails done, visited her sister, etc. Now I'm 100% supportive of self-care, and I would never tell her she can't do these things. But I'm looking for her to balance some of that out with things that will help shift some of the weekday load off of me. This came to head last Friday when my wife texted me asking if I could pick up dinner for everyone on my way home because she was out with friends and running late. I agreed because I didn't feel like cooking, but when I got home, there were still dishes in the sink from breakfast and 2 clean but unfolded loads of laundry. Also, my wife wasn't home. I called her to let her know I was home with the kids and dinner and asked when she would be home. She said she was just finishing her visit and would be home in 15 to 20 minutes. The kids and I ate without her, and then I started folding laundry while watching the kids. It literally sounds like a woman.
I know,
Yeah.
literally.
It sounds like what women do, but like usually don't complain about, but
Yeah.
we'll continue.
Yeah.
Again, it is unfair,
Yeah.
but like, let's talk about that.
It is unfair, yeah.
When she finally got home, she saw me folding laundry and said, "Oh, you don't have to do that. I was going to do that earlier, but so-and-so called and wanted to meet up. I'll do it after I eat quick." I told her that we needed to talk about how she's spending her time on her days off because I feel like I'm now bearing the large majority of weekday workload in our house while she's taking an entire day to herself to do whatever she wants. She said that she's just taking advantage of being able to get out of the house because her previous job required to be at home all the time and that the weekends fill up with family stuff, so she felt like she never had time for herself. I told her that I'm glad she's getting out and being social, but then asked when I get to have a full day to myself every week. No kids, no chores, no cooking, etc. She didn't have an answer. She told me I was being a jerk for making her feel bad for doing things for herself.
Oh, bum, bum,
Bum, bum, bum.
This is a good one, Rose.
This is a good one because you're right. It's like everything he had listed, most of the time, moms and women
That is their usual.
That's the default.
Yeah.
And so usually, like, you wouldn't even see women complaining about this.
Yeah.
Right?
But as soon as a man has to do it, they're on Am I the Asshole? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure there's some guys that are doing similar things to what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's just not as many. Like let's call a spade a spade. Majority of households, or at least people that I know, people I interact with,
statistically speaking,
women are doing this. They're working full time. They're majority doing the housework. They're dropping the kids off. They're picking them up. They're doing pretty much everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
And working, usually.
And working, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought it was funny when he started off the story. He's like, yeah, she leaves before I do. She gets home after I do. So I'm picking the kids up. I'm dropping them off. I'm getting lunches ready.
Yeah.
I'm cooking dinner. And I was like, oh, funny. That really sounds... And then, she has a day off and she goes and hangs out with her buddies.
Yeah, yeah.
So...
Okay, to be fair, again, I do empathize with the husband. I don't think he's an asshole. I do think it is fair to some extent. Now, we don't know. Maybe before, because it says that it's been about 2 months and this has just drastically changed their schedules.
Yeah.
What was he doing before? I would like to know.
Exactly. That's where the question is. When she was working from home, was she, when she worked full time, did all the laundry, did the cooking,
Yep.
did the cleaning, did everything for the kids.
Yep.
And he just went to work and came back.
That's kind of what it sounds like, because
Yeah.
it said, with my wife's new job, I'm also doing the majority of the cooking and getting the kids ready in the morning since she has to leave before. So maybe before she was doing all of the above.
Yeah.
Right? Just because she was working from home, which, in a sense makes sense. But again, she was still working from home.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So maybe she feels that way, that she has now finally she has like a little, like this is the only chance that she gets to have a little bit of time for herself. And again, like I feel like his concerns are valid.
Yeah, I agree. This is, again, all it comes down to.
Communication.
I just think it's ironic. It's funny because what he's saying is literally what women do all the time, and that's why I thought it was funny when he's like, "This is not fair."
Yeah,
it's like, well, yeah, you're right.
I think we're thinking from a general societal context.
Yeah,
where like men.
but I don't disagree with what he's saying. And I think in this situation, there does need to be some compromise made. And it sounds like if he's stuck doing majority of the stuff in the week, like, let's figure out a way to balance it. Maybe she gets home late, but maybe because she's home later, she prepares lunches for the next day and gets all the kids' stuff ready.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to do that in the morning, and he just has to get their clothes on and get them out the door, right?
Yeah.
There's things that they can do to balance the workload, to say, okay, let's plan our week out. And then so you can still have your Friday where you go out with the girlies, but maybe you have to be back at a certain time to like help with dinner that night or something, and then on the weekend we'll just split everything together. It just goes back to, again, all relationships, and how I think, like, even now when women constantly are having to hold the burden of keeping the house and work full time, there needs to be that balance. And I think it's not just this guy is bringing it up from the male perspective, but like any couple that one person's doing the more of the share of everything, it needs to get balanced out.
Yeah, it is just funny because we know that, for women, usually they don't go on, am I the asshole?
No.
They just do it, or like they might complain about it, but it's just the reality of the situation, which is so unfortunate.
Fuck my fucking life.
They're like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And then they just do it. But, and again, it's been 2 months. Women have been doing this for 20 years.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, it's been 2 months. And immediately, the minute that she hasn't folded the laundry the one time.
Oh God.
The
God
conversation
forbid.
started. But yes, I do think it is fair.
Yeah.
And I think we should do this with everyone involved.
Yeah. Whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whether it's two men, whether it's two women, whether it's a non-binary, whoever it is. You need to balance these things out and come up with a compromise that works, right? Like, obviously you do have to be flexible to each other's work schedule. Like, for example, I generally work 1 or 2 days a week from home. So if I was with my partner and they don't work from home as often, maybe one of those days it's easier for me to, like, between a call, throw some laundry in so I can just get that shit done, Like, and I'm not expecting them while they're at work to have to do, you know what I mean? Things like this, like, make a compromise, make it work.
Yeah. So let's read some comments. Yep. Not the asshole. You both still work 40 hours a week and commute. You adjusted by picking up additional house chores for 4 days to compensate for her long days. That's normal. She adjusted by reducing her household chores for the week. That's not normal. It's reasonable for both partners to get time for themselves, but that means you also get time. Yeah, I think that is also fair. She feels bad because she realizes it's entirely one-sided. It's probably unintentional, and that doesn't change. Okay, yeah. So it's good that they're talking about it. Let's see here. It says, not the asshole. Your wife needs to remember that that apart from being a parent, a partner, is that you have responsibilities that need to be taken care of before fun times can be had. That's not you being a jerk. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, true. Let's see. I have a hard time understanding the issue. In the example you gave, this is a new one, by the way, so there's not that many comments. In the example you gave, she said she would do the laundry after she ate. So it looks to me that chores are getting done outside dinner, just not by the time you expect them to be done. Is that not the case? See, that's another thing. She did say she was going to do it. Yeah. It's not like she expected him to do it. Now, the dishes in the sink, maybe that's an issue that again, you need to lay out your expectations, right?
Exactly.
It's like, because some people, maybe they don't mind some dishes in the sink and you can still make dinner. And because like he was bringing home dinner, maybe she felt like she didn't need to do the dishes just yet.
Exactly.
And so again, this is like, maybe she can just be like, hey, I left some dishes in the sink. I have some laundry to be folded. Don't worry about it. I'll get it done when I get home.
Exactly.
It's all about just like communicating. Okay, hey, I know I'm going to do it. Just let me do it when I get home. I just want some time to myself for a bit. You get dinner and just eat out, whatever. So you don't have to cook. I think that, just fucking just tell your partner. Let's see here. Info. Oh, see? Info. What did the split look like before she changed jobs?
Yes.
Exactly. This is what I want to know.
Yeah, these are key things.
Again, how long did she work at the other job and how long has she been doing the work from home. She worked from home Monday to Friday. So was she doing the bulk of all the cleaning and cooking and getting the kids ready and everything else you're saying you do now?
Yeah.
If you don't say anything, does the dishes get done and does the laundry get folded by the end of the day? Because here's another thing, okay?
Yeah.
Again, another gripe with the fucking male population here. Okay?
Uh-oh.
It's like sometimes, not all men, okay? But sometimes, especially in traditional households or in the households that we've seen,
Yeah.
the woman make sure everything gets done. Okay. If she doesn't get it done, maybe the guy will do it sometimes.
Yeah.
But if the woman is not making sure it's done, sometimes it's just not done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, does it get done, generally speaking?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, does it never get done if you don't do it? Because
Yeah.
it sounds like she was going to do it. And again, it's like, men always say, I was going to do it, blah, blah, blah. But was he going to do it?
Yeah. Was she going to do it?
But does she usually do it?
Yeah.
At a reasonable time, right?
I think I'd be interested to know though too, as I would be very interested to know, to that point and to your point, what the split was like when she was working from home. Because if this is now, it's only been 2 months since she switched jobs, and now you're doing what she used to do.
Let's see here. Everyone sucks here. Oh, you're the asshole for making it tit for tat when you ask when your free day is. It's when you get a job that works for 4 days for 10 hours. She's the asshole for not doing anything on her one free day. Figure out us against the problem, not you versus me. Why is it the man always complains when they have to work 40 hours and get stuck doing the majority of the chores and childcare? Women are expected to do this all the time.
Yep.
The double standard is infuriating. Yes,
Yeah.
Agreed, 100%.
It's weird. I know it's a societal thing that stemmed from like years and years and hundreds of years, but it's like crazy to me that there's this double standard where it's like, if men... You're right. I think women still like obviously complain, like are not happy with the situation, but they just kind of like do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
They like
yeah,
grin
yeah.
and bear, which is not. I'm not saying this is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
The second it flips though, and men are stuck. I don't even want to say
Yeah,
stuck.
yeah.
Their responsibility shifts where all of a sudden they're doing all of this stuff.
Yeah. All of a sudden they last 2 months and
it's-
it's like, oh my God, you didn't do the laundry one time.
They're posting on Am I the Asshole? Like fuck, like guys, like come on. It's crazy to me
It's
too.
true, though.
Yeah, it's wild to me too, though, because like a lot of not a lot. I guess some guys get married right out of leaving their parents' house, right?
Yes.
But like a lot of guys will live for a period of time, either with some friends or by themselves, before they end up in a relationship and then move in with a woman, right? And it's like, up until that point, you had to like keep a house yourself. You had to, organize your own lunches and dinners. I mean, granted, maybe they were eating shit and their house was a mess. I don't know.
So a lot of guys, I feel like it's either one or the other. Either they have their shit together and their house is super clean.
Yeah.
And they have like everything done or whatever, which is great. Or it's like a disaster.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
Well, I feel like some people I feel like I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Like my place is like,
Yeah.
it's
But you're a gay
lived
man.
in.
It's a little different.
Yeah, true. My place is lived in, but it's not like gross.
Yeah. Like you still get some things done. And if you
Yeah.
had kids, you would get things done.
I would, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting.
God
Very
damn,
interesting.
That was a good one, Rose.
That was a good one.
Good topical conversation, Rose. The tides are turning. God damn.
Pick a good one, Daniels.
I will try the it's stressful.
I do love how some of the comments agreed with our initial assessment of, oh, interesting that now the tides, and I guarantee you the reason he would have said if in the situation before when she was working from home, if he was doing any of the housework at the same, like if she wasn't doing the bulk of it, he would have said it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He left out information on purpose, saying he probably knew that his wife did the majority of everything before.
Yeah.
And now that the work shift has changed.
Exactly.
Oh, now he's listing out all the things he does now.
Exactly.
He didn't say anything about what he did before.
No.
Interesting.
I know. It's not like he was like, oh, well, when she was working from home, we split the childcare.
Exactly.
He just mentioned, oh, the
He
things
probably
have
just
shifted.
picked up the daycare stuff. Or who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't even in daycare.
Yeah, because she was working from home. Am I the asshole that I told my husband to stop supporting his adult daughter?
Oh.
I, 47 female, am very frustrated about this and thinking long and hard and want to know if my feelings are valid. My husband, 54 male, keeps supporting his daughter, 27 female, who's a single mom. Currently, the daughter lives with her mom and is asking him for help nonstop. Might it be simple or not? I stopped working for a while due to a very bad accident and is living off my pension. My husband earns enough to support us, but not to the extreme where he has too much disposable income. Just 6 months ago, the daughter asked for money for dental implants. I happily told my husband to be as generous as he can be, since it's not always the case, and she rarely asks for money. After that time, she kept asking for more and more. One time it was groceries. Next day it's care bills, then phone bills. Just a week ago, she asked him to pay some of her bills because she doesn't have work now.
How old is she?
The grammar's so bad.
Oh my God.
27 female.
Oh my God.
She's a single mom.
27.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, single mom, right?
Yeah. She doesn't have work. She doesn't have a work now. That's what they wrote. She doesn't work now. It's becoming a habit, and I think she's too old to be asking him for support, and this needs to stop. I agree.
Yes.
I told my husband how frustrated I am that he was even more upset and disappointed because I'm being unreasonably said. Now, as of writing, he's giving her $700 weekly.
What?
And I just found out yesterday that we are behind on our rent.
What?
I told him I see him as a really good father, but I think it's right. It's right, especially when he can. It's not right, especially when he can barely pay housing, and he just shut me off. It's been 3 days since we stopped talking. Am I the asshole? Edit. I still pay half of our bills as of today. I lost a leg. That's why I'm jobless now and still on therapy, but I'm still looking for remote jobs every day. It's not like I want all of my husband's money when in 12 years I was the one paying most of our bills.
God, not the asshole at all.
No.
What the actual fuck is going on here?
Exactly. So first of all, the adult daughter, 27, single mom. I know it's hard. You're a single mom, but she's living with the mom. She's living with her mom, his ex-wife.
Right.
Right. So she probably has discounted or cheaper rent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she has the responsibility of this child.
Yeah. You had a child.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, whatever the circumstance is there, is the father helping? Who knows? Maybe he's not. But your responsibility is you do need to work. Like we all need to work, you know, like, and you know, it's nice that your father can help you in certain situations, but they don't even have the money themselves. Again, This goes back to that situation. Like if I'm a parent and my kid grows up and my kid comes to me and says, hey dad, I really need money for XYZ. And if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I can't afford it. I'm going to just say, I'm really sorry. I can't afford it. I wish I could help you, but we have our own bills and shit to pay for. So
figure it out.
You're an adult. We supported you up until you're 18. You need to grow up and figure it out.
Like I understand to some extent helping your kids, helping your parents, helping each other. I get it. Okay. I think that's fine. But to make it a regular thing and that's enabling your child to not take responsibility for their child and
100%.
their lives, and $700 a week.
I know, it's insane.
That is a fucking crazy amount of money.
It's insane. It's stupid. Well, someone commented on this as well. Picking up that exactly. $700 weekly, that's insane. What bills does she have living with her mom?
Yes.
Not $2,800 worth, I can tell you that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it says you need to lay down the law with your husband. First, he needs to meet your shared obligations, rent, bills, retirement contributions. Then, and only then, is he allowed to give a reasonable amount of money to his daughter, if that's even something you want to continue doing. Given what sounds like her history of taking advantage, that money should also come with requirements. Number one, that he pays bills directly or receive receipts proving that she's using the money on what she says she's using it for, that there's a limit on how much he gives her, and that she presents a plan and a timeline for becoming financially independent. Which I think that's really fair and valid advice. Like,
that's way fair.
It's one thing. This is the thing. I think. And I always think this about like some parents when they're like over supporting their kids, like especially when we become adults. Like, don't get me wrong. Would I love it if my parents just started paying all my bills and shit? I'd be like, yeah, this is amazing. You know, like whatever. The point is, when you do that for somebody, it takes away their motivation to do it for themselves. Right.
Yes.
So like if my parents all of a sudden turned to me and said to me, hey, Daniel, we're going to pay your mortgage for whatever reason. They're not going to do that, right? But let's say they start doing that. I mean, I'd be a dick taking that money from them. But
that's the thing. I wouldn't take that money especially knowing that my parents weren't financially amazing, like well off. You know what I mean? Yes, if my parents were multi-millionaires, okay, sure, pay my fucking mortgage. Great, fantastic.
Exactly, yeah. Given the situation, like my parents are okay. They can pay all their shit and stuff.
Yeah.
But like they don't have like my mortgage and extra all this stuff.
Yeah, so you wouldn't even want to take that money.
Exactly. But like what I was going to say is once they start, like let's say they said we'll pay your phone bill every month.
Sure.
Right? Let's say that. I'm like, okay, sure. Once they start paying your phone bill, you get used to that, right? And this is now, you know, and they're like, oh, what about this bill? You think you can cover this as too? Like, you know, and you start to, it's just such a snowball. And it's like, well, hang on a second. You're an adult. Like, these are responsibilities that you hold, and these are things that you should be taking care of yourself.
Yeah, this is what happens sometimes when you enable your kids. They become so entitled, and they're not even, she's not even grateful probably for any of this.
No, she just keeps, this is the thing. She just keeps taking and taking, right? Like you need to be really firm. And I know it's hard because she's a single mom, and she probably leans on that a lot. I bet. I was just like, you know,
I'm a single mom.
I need to get new clothes for her and blah, 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 and all this stuff. But you're right. $700 a week when you live with your mom.
I know.
Like,
it's absolutely
what?
insane. My God.
I don't understand.
Okay, I got one more.
One more.
This was posted 7 hours ago.
Oh, goddamn. A fresh one.
Am I the asshole for having my friend leave our vacation early due to her unstable mental health? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I, 33 female, and my friend, 31 female, I'll call her Hun, have been friends. Hun. Okay. Have been friends for 14-ish years. As we grew older, I moved away, but we stayed in contact. About 4 months ago, Hun and I decided we should take a vacation together. We discussed how we wanted to get a break from the day-to-day needs of others. I booked a cabin at a retreat a few hours from home. That sounds kind of nice.
Does sound nice.
The first 24 hours of our trip were seemingly normal. We get to our cabin and start catching up. The next morning, I wake up, make coffee, and decided to take a hike. When I came back, Hun asked to see where I had went so we could walk off where I had went so we walk off together. I noticed Hun's speech pattern was off, and some of the things she was saying didn't make much sense, so I chalked it up to her anxiety. We stop at the spot and sit on our mats, and Hun says she'd want to be with me in a place like this when she dies. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's getting really dark, Rose.
I tell her that's an odd thing to say, and I'm going back to the cabin. She starts apologizing, and I said, it's not a big deal, but let's try to stay positive. We stand up, and I notice Hun is wobbly on her feet and mumbling nonsense. She's having like a mental breakdown, I think. She says, I don't know, people were LARPing out here. No one was there. Oh, God.
Yeah, okay. Something's really off.
I'm now alarmed, and I just want her to get back to safety to the cabin. We get back, and I go into the cabin to get her water, and when I come back, she was gone. I yell her name to no response. After about 15 minutes of looking, I called her boyfriend to get some insight into what might be going on. He asked me if she was drunk, so I start looking around the cabin and find an empty bottle of gin. Oh my God.
Oh God.
He tells me she shouldn't drink because she has a bad reaction to it, and now I'm really worried. About 20 minutes later, I'm frantically searching. I find Hans stumbling through a briar patch, leaves and sticks in her hair, and completely mumbled speech. I help her inside, bring her water and a sandwich. She woke up 2 hours later, and I asked about the things she was saying, and she says, oh, was I hallucinating again? Sorry about that. Oh my God. I bring up the alcohol and ask why she was drinking, why she would drink if she knows that can cause a reaction. And she said, this is who I am, and I didn't think you would judge me like this. I thought it was a safe place for me to be myself. I'm baffled at this point because while I do consider myself a safe person, Han knew I wanted this trip to be a break of being a caretaker.
Yeah.
I asked why she would put me in this position and told her she scared me with her behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, she was really upset and said, I'll just leave if that's how you feel. I know she wanted me to stop her, but I didn't. I just went and waited outside as she packed her stuff. I care deeply about my friend, but I can't help but be upset that she would put me in this position willingly. I can't help feeling a bit guilty. That's why I'm asking, am I the asshole for not stopping her from leaving since she's an adult? It was her vacation too, and she didn't technically ask me to take care of her during this situation. No, again,
no, but like
asshole.
Exactly, like no, like, and also just because I'm like, hey Rose, don't take care of me, okay? You don't need to take care of me, but I'm gonna get absolutely fucking wasted
and talk nonsense
and be all. And then disappear in the bush, and you see me like rambling and fucking trees in my hair.
Of course you're gonna take care of her.
Like, that's a stressful fucking situation.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
This is, I would be fucking concerned
Yes.
for my safety and her safety.
Exactly. I'd be like, oh my God, what's going on with my friend? And also your own safety.
Yeah.
You're right. Because you hear
she's seeing things.
Yeah, she's hallucinating. She's like fucking rambling like a
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah,
Girl,
like,
you got to call the authorities.
yeah, you got to get a professional involved at that point. Like it's not, oh, I thought I could just be myself. It's like
That's not you being yourself.
No.
That's you being in a deluded state.
Exactly. So, and we all know mental health is really important. And shit can go off the rails with mental health. Even with somebody that you really care about, you could do something when you're in a state of like, you know, in a deluded state where you like attack them or something, because in your deluded state you think that they're like a criminal or something else, and like your safety's in compromised.
Oh God,
it's not normal.
This is not normal. I mean, everyone's being like, not the asshole. It's incredibly selfish and dangerous that she did that, and she knows it. That's why she did it as a secret. Exactly. It's like it's not like you were like, oh, let's take some shots. Like let's take some gin.
She just drank by herself.
She drank by herself, knowing she's probably gonna be in that position. Like, listen, I get it. Maybe she's an alcoholic. She has some issues, and when you're an alcoholic, sometimes you like hide your alcohol or whatever. But it's like, you know, at the end of the day, she knows she's in the wrong because she obviously drank by herself like that. Yeah. Which she probably knows she shouldn't have. Not the asshole. She didn't even inform you that it was an issue for her. So you were completely clueless and scared as to what was happening to her. It seems as though she may need some help with her drinking. Yeah, I think so. Just a little bit of help.
Like, I think I would be concerned, like, you know, even if me and Rose were like at a cabin and I'm like, oh, Rose is having a chill day. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for a hike. I come back and Rose is down like a bottle of gin. Yeah. Is fucking wasted.
Oh my
I'll be like,
did she say a bottle? Was it a bottle?
I think it was an empty bottle. Yeah. I'll be like, Rose, are you okay? Yeah. Like, I get it. If I got there and we're like, let's have some drinks together. Yeah. And maybe you had a couple glasses of wine before I got there. But if you're just like downed in a bottle, it's empty, it's hidden. Yeah. And you're like stumbling around. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. What the hell bottle happened? Of gin.
Yeah.
That's very concerning.
That's a lot of alcohol. Yeah. Like if either of us had an empty bottle, we would be fucked.
Well, we don't know how big the bottle was, but still.
Well, even if it was like
if it's a small bottle,
if it was a 2.6, we would be fucked.
Exactly. And like, yeah, that's always like a bad sign when someone's hiding the alcohol and like not showing you that you're drinking.
Exactly.
Because like that's usually a sign that you have an alcohol issue.
Exactly. Well, I would imagine like, again, if the same thing, if Rose left and then came back and we weren't even planning on going out that night, nothing.
You just keep using me as an example.
No. This time you left and I get drunk. Okay. So Rose left this time. I down a bottle of vodka. I hide it somewhere, or tequila or whatever. And then I'm wasted. And we had no plans to go out that night or anything. It's not like I was like,
I would be very concerned.
It's not like I'm pre-gaming before we go. It's like I just was by myself at the house fucking downing tequila.
Oh God.
Maybe if I was like going through a breakup or something, you know?
We don't cope with alcohol,
This
Daniel.
is true.
Alcohol is for fun times.
This is very true. This is very true.
Yes, guys. Alcohol is for fun times. We do not use alcohol as a coping mechanism. And on that positive note,
guys,
I hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you enjoyed.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching this on YouTube, give us this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, show us some love in the comment section down below. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, hit that follow and then you get updated as soon as new episodes are released. And then, of course, Rose, what else should people do?
You should follow us on Patreon or join us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/the SaVeg Podcast. Once again, you get every episode earlier than everybody else. You get ad-free content and bonus episodes every single month. So make sure you check it out. It's patreon.com/the SaVeg Podcast. And thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.